Hello everyone, this is Altar, and this segment is here to let you know that after about a year of producing content for Offworld Trading Company, Mohawk Games contracted me out to do some QA consulting work for them. This video was made during the time that contract was active. Thank you for listening. Please enjoy the video. Right, hello everyone, and welcome to game number 1 in our best of 3 series between Dwemi and Yerand. This is going to be a round 2 match from our release tournament. And man, life support's looking gross this game. That's the first thing I noticed glancing over at the random prices is you've got like cheap steel, and that's very, very nice for some factions, but then expensive food, expensive oxygen, expensive fuel, and expensive glass. I'm honestly wondering, is this the game where we are going to see a scientific faction do very, very well? You've got a nice plot of water plus steel up in the corner you could use very effectively, not too far away from some aluminum that is certainly usable. And then silicon, not all that far away from that. Both players deciding they've seen enough territory that they don't need to found immediately this time. They're just holding on, trying to take up that second claim. But when will this dollar value be worth it? Dwemi takes it. Once that scientific location we spotted earlier for about $700, Yerand gonna end up with the extra claim at HQ2. I do like his location as well. Got plenty of carbon near him, aluminum near him, water near him. He will have access to those easy life support resources in order to make a lot of money as a scavenger this game. This is pretty much exactly what we expected from the found this time, and I especially like this out of Dwemi, moving straight into food. Does have one claim left that he needs to resolve. That's going to go into steel. I think that is okay for the time being. Not going to hurt too badly. Might have encouraged it to head toward aluminum, but the steel will work just fine for helping accelerate getting to HQ2, which he should have before too terribly long off of this very, very strong food production he's got, plus 82 right there. And the scientist actually hits HQ2 before our scavenger because Yerand, instead of upgrading, he is focusing on holding on to this iron price, trying to keep it high, maybe force his opponent into metal mines instead of steel mills. That's exactly what he manages to do. Dwemi potentially getting a little bit fooled by Yerand and his iron price. That's going to work out very, very nicely for Yerand because now Dwemi has committed almost all of his tiles. His only chance left to take up aluminum is going to be to cancel this farm. He's not going to do it, it looks like. Farm's 4 seconds from done. Let's go ahead and make sure that finishes up. And suddenly Dwemi in a position where he does not have access to aluminum in order to hit HQ3. Yerand has all of that. He is auto-selling it for the time being, but he does have an opportunity potentially to punish his opponent for this decision. Yerand going ahead and buying into that aluminum now. No big surprise there. And suddenly things are going to be very expensive for Dwemi moving forward this game. Always a risky move to get to HQ level 2 and not take that aluminum you're going to need for HQ3. Dwemi, you can see he is purchasing a huge amount of it right now before Yerand has a chance to drive it absolutely out of control. But this is, of course, just money in Yerand's pocket for the time being. Lots of extra potential black market play for our scavenger because of this nice boost of cash that he's getting. There has been a solid EMP onto Yerand, so it's not like he's going to run away with things anytime soon. Struggling to get his farms online. I think these are definitely a mistake to have tried to move into the farms opposite our scientist, who also has them. Reactors, potentially a much better decision out of Yerand, and you can see he is being punished for that pretty heavily himself, only making about 20 a second off this farm, and that's just going to keep getting worse as Dwemi massively outproduces him and floods that market early in the game. Targeted by a slowdown strike, too little too late, I'd say, though. These are at plus 25. They would have only been at plus 50. Dwemi has got the cash he needs from them for the most part. Can focus on steel for the time being in order to make the money he needs from here to push to HQ3. And Yerand potentially had a nice moment to make some good plays in there, but just a little bit shut out, I believe, by his own farm decision. I, of course, went into these when food was looking much nicer, but the EMP really punishing him very heavily for trying to intrude on an opponent's market. Man, that's an important claim. But of course, Dwemi, he gets this for 14,000. That's a lot of debt, and it's going to take a lot of debt to run because this is, I mean, it's literally the opposite corner of the map. That is very, very far away from his base, and so Just getting it online is going to take about 8 years, and then after that, he still has to wait for the shipments to come in. All the while paying massive amounts of fuel for this building. I'm not sure on the exact details. We'll check that once the metal mine is actually up. Yerand is going to be our first player who manages to get to HQ level 3. Finally moving into the reactors now. An unfortunate oxygen surplus going to be hurting that, but that could aid him if he would like to transition his farms on into glass. That is definitely going to be a possibility for him. Very cheap silicon, oxygen being produced, already got surplus down. That's going to be a nice thing for Yerand to see. Dwemi finally gets to HQ3. You can see this aluminum price has absolutely gone insane. This is what happens when only one player takes aluminum. $80 aluminum price. Yerand is sitting on a ton of cash for a scavenger who got his main resource EMP'd and then flooded early in the game. My big concern for Yerand, though, at this point is power. Dwemi is already looking at getting this geotherm down. It'll be kind of difficult with this aluminum price getting in the way quite effectively. And of course, Yerand's also been just getting slaughtered by nukes so far this game, I believe. Yeah, all over some of this carbon here. You can see he's working on 2 lows. Dwemi is going to be the one that gets hit this time, though. Just scraps out the metal mine, says, nah, that's not worth the fuel price. And I imagine we are going to see a solar panel headed that way. So Dwemi still without aluminum continues to be an opportunity for Yerand to punish throughout the duration of this game. Yerand, he can get to 4 without selling a single bit of aluminum right now. That is a very huge deal. Shortage on glass coming. This gives Yerand some very, very simple decisions he can make moving forward. I think he's still going to need to get power online one of these days, but he can easily move into silicon, he can easily move into glass, and he can easily transition something like these reactors out and on into solar panels if he needs to, relying on this silicon income to eventually make up for his potential solar panel decision. Instead, we're just going to see geotherms. That's going to be just fine too. A little light on carbon this game, so the geotherm is a bit of a risky proposition in its own way, especially up against these mutinies. But it could work out just fine. Yerand already so far ahead in upgrades. Perhaps he does not need to worry about the extra strain on his carbon resource that the geotherm is potentially going to represent. Thinking Machines is obviously a massive auction, as in any game with the Scavenger. But in particular, Scavenger and Scientist, this basically makes Dwemi immune to EMPs if he picks it up, which it looks like he might for just 20,000. Also, very nice protection for his geothermal plant. Already has a goon on it, but if he didn't, suddenly those mutinies become far less effective, and you can simply focus on countering your opponent with offensive black market rather than defending yourself with the support of that Thinking Machines. $300 power. Dwemi is the one in the market most effectively at the moment, but unfortunately for him, it's not quite enough with this slowdown strike to actually be paying off debt effectively. Still gaining a fair amount of debt from this food, water, and oxygen that he has to worry about. And nighttime on the way, that's not going to help things at all either. Getting back into farms is Dwemi. Food is up at a nice 71, just kind of struggling to find a market to exist in now, it seems. Needs to collect glass and aluminum so he can get to HQ4 eventually. And not really on a good route to get either. He's got glass production coming up now, but he's up against an opponent who has the silicon market and has the aluminum market. Just control of these base resources really helping out Yerand this game, as long as he can establish power production before he falls out of the game due to debt, which he doesn't seem to be in a position to do anytime soon, at least. He should be well on his way to potentially picking up game number 1, but we'll see if Dwemi, if he's got something up his sleeve that he can use here. He does have access to that Thinking Machines, and so he is going to get aggressive with the EMP very quickly, freezing out his opponent's glass production, potentially trying to encourage his opponent to sell down some of this silicon, sell down some of this aluminum, but Yerand isn't biting. He says, nah, I'm good. I'm already HQ4. You're still HQ3. I'm just going to get this, hacker array down. And here come the silicon shorts. Dwemi, still in so much trouble. Had such a nice scientific area, but in that 1v1, you can't neglect primary resources the way you can get away with. And in FFA, they're just, your opponent will punish you for it every single time. Dwemi holding on to his debt now. He does have good power production online, finally sitting at 2.3 on the back of his solar panel geothermal plants. That's going to be very nice for him. It is beneficial that this elevation that we're sitting on up here, this has been deemed a very high elevation. So solar panels potentially very, very effective this game for both of our players if they elect to move into them, as Dwemi has. $121 aluminum. How often do you see that in a 1v1, I ask you? Oh, man. I know I keep making things sound bad for Dwemi. Might sound like less and less of a game as time goes on, but that's just because it's simply true. Dwemi, if we look, he doesn't have anything going his way, really. He's got electronics production down instead of his steel, and that's not making any money, of course, because silicon and aluminum are both through the roof. This just opens up another market for Yerand to potentially make money in the carbon. Dwemi making sure to consume all three resources that he has no access to whatsoever, and that his opponent has a complete monopoly on. Not sure if that's the right idea moving forward in these games to carry you through on to victory. So Yerand with $80,000, he is going to be well aware of the fact that he is very close to the amount of money he needs to close this out. Simply shorting silicon, following that up with aluminum. That's just going to add to Yerand's cash. We can watch the number rise for him. Dwemi absolutely does not have enough to defend himself. I'm going to be very surprised if we don't see Yerand get aggressive very, very soon against Dwemi in the stock market. Magnetic Storm, an interesting tool. I imagine that was used on some of this silicon coming in. Dwemi did choose to mutiny the silicon away from Yerand, trying to get that price to come down, trying to get access to something to carry him through the game. Also has established his own silicon quarry off in the corner, but I have to say, I think this kind of thing just screams too little too late to me. Yerand, we can see, is sitting at the 100% mark with an aluminum shortage on the way. Massive amounts of cash in this aluminum. This shortage is going to raise the price pretty dramatically. And Yerand with over $100,000 in cash, I worry he's going to wait too long to actually make his move here. But as long as he doesn't, despite his large amount of debt, he should be able to move forward and finish this very quickly. Every second that goes by, essentially giving Dwemi a chance to get the cash together that he needs to defend himself this game. There comes the sell from Yerand. Notice how he had moved all of his money out of silicon in order to reduce that price, as he no longer had the monopoly on it. Dwemi, I don't believe, has collected enough. Still needs about 10,000 more in order to finish defending himself. Did Yerand give him the time? I don't think so. That's going to be it. Game number 1, majority buyout, hacker array. Once again out of Yerand. Gonna get the job done. Solid game 1 victory on over to him. That was nice. It was good. I liked it from Yerand. Dwemi. Man, you can see aluminum. There was plenty of it being produced. Plenty of silicon being produced too, but Yerand just sitting on those stockpiles for so long seriously punishes Dwemi, especially considering that starting glass price being so high. Very nice moves out of Yerand. Dwemi just kind of falling behind. Yerand just finding the hole in his opponent's market and not just hurting him with it, but absolutely destroying him with it. That was very well done on Yerand's part. Not too much more to look at there. It was actually pretty straightforward. Turns out a monopoly on aluminum is a pretty good thing. So we're gonna get on out of here and host up game number 2. Alright, hello everyone and welcome to game number 2 in our best of 3 series between Yerand and Dwemi. Nice use of the hacker array and exploiting his opponent's holes from Yerand to take game number 1. Dwemi, he's just going to have to tighten some of it up. Be a little bit less greedy, I think, on the path forward during game number 2. And I think he'll still have a shot at taking this one and pushing us to a game 3, though. King Morgan joining me this time. Any thoughts on this map, King Morgan? Because I think it's atrocious.
It's dreadful, isn't it? Absolutely dreadful.
Dwemi takes arguably the best location on the map. A little bit awkward in exactly what he claimed here. Taking the low aluminum instead of the medium.
Yeah, that's an odd decision. That I don't know why he's done that.
Odd is one of the words for it. I would call it bad. Personally, guys, I mean, I'm just saying that typically more resources is better.
Well,
personal opinions.
Yeah, I'm hoping he's got some strategy to go with that strange decision, but we'll see, I suppose. Unless Yerand, you see, is going to come down and snap it up.
Well, he is going to take the medium now. Got that secured. Just not a huge thing in the end, I think, but still just maybe 10, 20 less aluminum than he could have had. No reason No reason to just have a little less aluminum.
But then, of course, your opponent could come and say, thank you very much, I will gladly have that spot.
Could have. I think the tile was technically defended in this case for long enough that Yerand never had the opportunity to take it. It is very, very close to the HQ, but still, a risk that didn't need to be taken.
That's it.
I hate those filthy
I
bandits.
like this out of Yerand in a way. He's taken low iron, so we're just talking about how Dwemi shouldn't have done that because it's a lower resource compared to a higher resource, and there's like no reason not to. And then Yerand up here is taking a lower resource instead of a higher resource, and I kind of like it for the time being.
Yeah.
And I can easily explain why. You see, Yerand still has a surplus of this resource running for the time being, and the resource is very cheap. On top of that, when he founded, it was going to be much faster to go ahead and establish these metal mines adjacent to his headquarters and immediately start collecting money rather than position them even a small distance away. Just a little bit of a jump start for him initially from taking these low mines that he can then very easily transition into something like wind turbines later in the game. One geotherm on this map, it should be noted.
The black market is online.
Yeah. So he's moved up there so he can claim those very high mediums, which is good.
One geotherm remaining. I need to correct that. Dwemi already haven't taken one.
Yeah.
But yeah, you very accurately point out the other part of this is that he's already expanded in a fashion that he can get to the high iron easily.
If he needs to.
If he needs to, exactly. Or if he just wants to, if he wants these two adjacent tiles for any particular reason. All
It depends,
of these
I mean,
options.
If he goes into Hack Array again, then he'll probably want to take those iron, so he'll have a nice big surplus there, get a stockpile, see if he can't play with a Hacker Array. Perhaps that's his thought, who knows.
Absolutely. Well,
So it's in one.
one solar panel, one wind turbine out of Yerand right now. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Slightly odd, isn't it?
That is an odd decision. Not something typical. So, I guess potentially a reason to do this is because it keeps both of them very cheap.
Yeah, he's not boosting the carbon price or the silicon price too much, spreading it round.
But his opponent has left carbon so low. I'm very confused as to why he wouldn't just take two wind turbines. Well, he's going to go into a second wind turbine now, so that's going to be one solar panel, double wind turbine here. Plenty of power available for Yerand all of a sudden.
Yeah, well, I think he needs to take it, and power being so high as well, it's probably a good investment. But of course, he's going to have to pay his debt first before actually banking any of it.
Absolutely. And a significant amount of debt to pay off for Yerand, 32,000, but he should be able to work through that pretty rapidly, paying off about 600-700 a second right now. Not bad at all. He'll get through the debt before too terribly long here, I think. Okay,
No.
Dwemi gets to 3.
He's turned his steel. He had his steel mills turned off momentarily there. I don't know why.
Well,
Is
an
he still-
understandable decision. The steel mills are back on, but of course, they are gaining 53 debt a second and only making $1 to $2 net in iron, turning iron into steel. So if he wants to try and make money off power, I think turning those off may be the right decision at times.
Yeah.
Oh, EMP.
It's
That's gonna
switched
hurt.
off now.
Yeah, most of the power offline at this point, and of course the steel mills mostly off too. Only 16,000 left for Yerand to pay off. He may be able to pull this off to actually make some money this game, but I'm a little bit worried about the fact that Dwemi's got wind turbines online finally.
And he's moved into 3 food as well, which, I mean, that's the most expensive resource at the moment, so he's going to make some good money from that.
Black market
Absolutely
is
strong
online.
decision, and he can actually kind of get away with having these separated from his base. I think this all kind of goes back to the initial mistake that Dwemi makes early this game in taking the low instead of the medium. He felt obligated to take 2 aluminum tiles. 2 aluminum tiles, usually 1 too many. Wasn't able to get into farms without transitioning out of the aluminum. Now they're separate from his base, but on the bright side, the crater is preventing pirates.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing that we've seen.
No.
A long shot, and he's boosted up his power as well, so he's managed to pay 20,000 odd off,
The black market
which isn't
is
too bad.
online.
His debt's gone from 55 down to 35, so
Yeah,
good work
absolutely.
there.
Very nice for him. Yerand, on the other hand, a little stalled out right now. Steel got turned to absolute trash, and Yerand having to move into reactors in order to make up for this. Very, very awkward founding location out of Yerand. It needs to be pointed out. I don't think he had much of a choice in the matter. But as you can see, it's been difficult for him to get triangles established this game.
That's right. He has got one location he could get a triangle, but that's it.
Yeah,
And that's because he moves up to the iron triangle that he could have.
absolutely. And I think it's worth pointing out that Yerand may have thought the territory was a little more open than it was. The maps being so smooth and well designed can sometimes trick you, at least in my opinion, to thinking something's a tile when it's not. Because it's just, it kind of looks like a triangle here, but of course the crater peeking into it.
Yeah, it's caught me out many a time. You think, oh yes, I can get myself a little triangle there, but no, that's a crater.
Yeah, gotta be very careful around some of these craters sometimes. Just making sure that, yeah, that tile's actually going to be available in the future.
But you see, some of them look like they should be. Others, you think, no, that can't be workable, and it is. Strange.
Gotta be careful. That said, Dwemi, he's gotten to 4 now. Very well done, accelerating himself ahead of the robot this game as a scavenger. You always gotta be happy for that.
Oh, definitely. He has been frozen out though, EMP. So a
the
little
food.
slowdown for his food, yeah, which not terrible, but
And
he's still
Yerand,
ahead.
of course, once again doing what he can to hold Dwemi back, EMP onto the food, and then purchasing the silicon, using everything tool at his disposal to try to shut down his opponent's income.
Dwemi only has a very small source of silicon at the moment, just 1 per second.
Revolted colony expanded.
So
Absolutely.
choose to turn off his glass kilns, which
They were
fair
losing
point.
money for a fair amount of time. Now they're back to 50 a second. Yerand sells out to get the upgrade.
catching up slowly but surely.
Yep, trying to work his way back into this game. Going down farms with a dust storm that has a minute left may be a less than desirable decision in a lot of ways, but eventually should
Yep.
be all right.
He's just gone into the 2 of them and 2 steel mills, so it's not terrible. Back into iron. Why he shifted that around, I'm not sure. Well, he had to, I suppose, to get his iron back, because iron is rather high.
This kind of shows my long-term concern with Yerand. I really would have liked to see the play where you put the wind turbines down on the old metal mines and take new metal mines that are still connected to your base. You can get adjacency with steel if you put steel in that area. Things start looking pretty well because iron's up at $63 a piece right now, and taking in a lot of it would be pretty nice. But now Yerand taking these extra wind turbine locations that he can't rotate as easily. I think he's left himself in an awkward spot with this $1 power.
Yeah, it'd definitely be. You've definitely been far better to get that iron while he could. And Dwemi did have the possibility of building a off-world market, but instead moving into he
got
is- He got it. I looked to me.
And Yerand knows.
Yeah, he's taken it.
Even without the spy, Yerand paying attention. It looked like a hacker array for a moment to Yerand, and then it started looking like a chem refinery. Obvious hologram. You know exactly what your opponent's doing there.
Oh yes, yeah. If it flips from a, from a hacker array to chemicals, there's something there that needs to be shut down immediately.
Just something a little fishy going on. Well, that's not going to be what Dwemi wants to see. Chemicals
No.
being surplus as he's trying to transition into them, that's not going to work out super well. Going to need to consider something like moving back into glass, getting some electronics down. Those always go well after you build an off-world market.
What are Offworld's looking like this game? Oxygen seems to be about the best launch.
Yeah,
Reasonable prices.
moderate prices, I'd say, on the off-world market, but very low prices on world
Black market
makes the
is
off-world
online.
market certainly a valuable building to have, this game, I think.
It looks very hard, doesn't it, to turn a profit on world at the moment.
Yeah, not a lot of resource consumption going on from the colony. Always an interesting thing when the colony has offices. because it's so easy to flood the power market and kind of make the neutral colony almost irrelevant. And then, of course, having a robotic player, reduced life support consumption, just all these things kind of contributing to a low on-world market this game.
Yeah, they definitely need to move into an off-world market. And he's going off patent lab there, but it's actually just a hologrammed
It is a patent
reactor.
lab. We've got a patent lab
It
there.
is a patent lab?
Mhm.
Really?
Absolutely.
What is that?
Patent lab coming down from Dwemi.
Oh, yes.
Almost
So it is.
done. I really like thinking machines this game, actually. And that's exactly what he's hopping into instantly. I think this is a great decision from Dwemi this game, because your opponent isn't pulling in enough on-world to truly threaten you quickly. He's going to have to go off-world too to be a threat. And so if you can sidestep into thinking machines against these slowdown strikes in particular, like slowdown strikes dynamite, EMP, and adrenaline boost this game, I think thinking machines is great to go along with these
definitely.
off-world, these black market items.
But he's also moved into it at the right time.
We caught a dirty rat trying to break our stuff.
Oh man, right on top of that patent lab.
Now that's gonna lose him money on his reactors there.
You make a great point though about the timing of this patent lab.
Yes, it's appropriate.
It's coming late enough that he has the cash to use it, and it has a very specific purpose. I think you and I would both agree with this, that it's very, very well thought out, this patent lab, not just thrown down for the sake of having a patent lab, because that's usually a nice thing.
Yeah, well, he's not chasing sub-patents to get himself out of trouble, is it? It's what we've seen from previous games in the tournaments. People are in a hole and they're trying to use an early patent lab to drag themselves out of trouble, which very, very hard to do.
Absolutely, whereas this patent lab is being used to further benefit an existing plan, to just make what's going to happen that you need to do anyway to win the game better, instead of trying to fix the broken mess you've gotten yourself into. You're exactly right about that. Launch is about to finish. A lot of cash for Dwemi. Does he upgrade? He needs to make sure he's got oxygen launching still, or does he just start buying stock now?
I would like to put some pressure on Yerand, to be honest. Dwemi's in a good situation where he could do that. He starts getting Yerand panicking. And has he spotted Yerand's off-world?
And that is the question, isn't it? Yerand being very, very aggressive with this off-world. Not even committing for a long time. Not committing this goon squad. There it finally drops.
Yeah, that's good. He needs that.
The black
It will be quite easy. I don't know. I'm surprised there's not more spies out, to be honest. They're cheap. Dwemi's got the
very
cash,
cheap.
or had the cash.
And Dwemi does have a spy down, but doesn't catch what he's looking for with that. Unfortunately for him.
He should have more down though, shouldn't he? But the second one has gone out for, obviously, for Yerand there. But I like this boosted off-world. That's doing good work for him.
Yeah, the boosted
Dwemi's
off-world
gotta-
is just fine. I mean, it's hard to argue with, right? Lots of money, even more money. Who doesn't like money?
Exactly. Yep. Dwemi needs to start buying into Yerand about now.
Yeah,
His
such a
second
massive
launch.
lead.
Yeah,
Go
his
ahead
second
and
launch
end it.
is. Yeah, well, his second launch is just about to finish off. He's going to have nearly 100k, 5 stock, 4 or 5 stock easily. But also, if maybe he can at least get Yerand
The black market
panicked
is
in
on
everything
fire.
else.
Well, if I were Yerand, I'd be panicking at having that giant
I would-
red exclamation mark over my stock.
Yeah, come on, Dwemi, start buying. Come on,
There it is.
It should
it
be
done.
cleaning this up pretty quickly. But
We're
yeah,
not surprised, just
Nope,
disappointed in you.
Yerand obviously got a launch off.
Yerand, I do believe, got a launch off, yeah. He's having trouble scraping together the cash he needs to survive, though, without canceling this other launch. Doesn't want to do that. And instead just falls out to the majority buy. I think that's fine, really, for Yerand. He could have canceled and held on, but how do you win from there? Right.
Very, very, not easily. Not easily at all.
No. I think the upgrade out of Dwemi was maybe a little excessive. Probably could have finished things up a little more quickly, not given Yerand the opportunity to defend himself.
Yeah,
But-
he didn't need that upgrade today.
No, not really. But it still works out for him. He just had such a massive lead, it wasn't a problem. Also went ahead and took carbon scrubbing in the patent lab, which I did like that decision too. It just kind of prevents your opponent from easily getting into those carbon markets, gives you a full monopoly on the resource, which is always nice to have as a scavenger.
Yeah, if chems are cheap, then it's not a bad move, but unnecessary, really.
It was unnecessary, but really chems were like $50, so
Fair enough.
who cares? And as we discussed, Dwemi, he takes it to game 3, and we've got a bit of a series going on this time. Once
Good.
again.
Always good to see a game 3.
Absolutely. Always good to see game 3. Let's see. Yerand thought it was a hacker array.
Did he?
Didn't know it was an Offworld. Yeah. Maybe a bit of an under-response to that building, not realize exactly what a terrible situation he was in this game.
That's a big mistake if he thought it was a hacker array.
I think what happened was he probably thought that he saw a hacker array for a moment, right? It was showing a hacker array. And then it starts showing a chem lab. So perhaps Yerand assumes that's when the hologram came down. But actually the hologram came down before it showed anything.
Yeah.
So kind of a sensible thing for Yerand to think, just a little trick there, not realizing the hologram was the hacker array itself and not the transition from hacker array to chem lab.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. He just mistimed it, kind of thing.
Yeah. And that's a case where, I mean, simply spending the 3.5 on the spy, I think would have been the correct decision there. Even if you think it's a hacker array, you can see what your opponent's hacking, which is always useful information. So,
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. You want to get ahead of the game and know what's coming down the line, and maybe you can counter it.
exactly. So maybe just a little bit of a misstep from Yerand there. Had a tool available to him, chose not to use it.
And
Ended
paid
up
for
falling
it.
out. Yeah. Right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to game number 3 of our best of 3 series between Yerand and Dwemi. Dwemi doing some nice work in game number 2, just as a scavenger, staying ahead of the competition. After a bit of a hiccup at HQ2, gets the Offworld market down. Yerand, unfortunately, misinterpreting the situation, falls out of the game, not realizing exactly how far behind he was.
You're going scavenger, and there's hardly any aluminium. One of them's going to have to... Maybe not crush. No, Yerand. Don't settle there. That's rubbish.
You don't like that location? It's dangerous.
I went him over just south of the aluminium.
That would have been a possibility. He could have prevented his opponent from taking the carbon by doing that. It was a bit of a risky move, I would say, what he went for. That said, he gets a lot of extra water out of his play. Which water started off at $40, and you can see he knocked it down to 32 instantly, pretty much, with its found. Got 40 extra water. That is some acceleration toward HQ2 there. He only needs this one carbon shipment.
Perhaps, but longer term, he's now... What's he going to do with those two aluminium claims he's got? I suppose he'll have to transition them into solar panels or something.
It is a very good point that he has been forced to take 2 aluminum tiles this game, which are likely to decrease in value eventually. However, what I want to point out is, man, 6 aluminum tiles. Underground nukes available this game.
They are available.
I'm ready for it. I would be able to resist, personally. Like, I would have
well,
already gooned my aluminum this game if I were Dwemi. I'd be that terrified.
I'm quite surprised he hasn't, to be frank. Hopefully, if he's not... No, nobody's gooning anything, are they? That's bad. Very bad.
Black market was online.
Yerand, how much do you have? You have enough! No, okay, that's a goon squad. Where's it going? Probably on the geotherm. We're gonna be boring today, aren't we?
Missed opportunity.
Oh no, on the carbon. Identifying the danger of the nukes, protecting the more vulnerable tile to nukes. I'm just saying, instead of the one that your opponent's more likely to target, because your opponent you always assume is going to hit the high tile because they don't pay attention.
No, they should.
black market is
They
online.
don't, do they?
I am a little unsure about this, though.
I don't like either of their found locations, to be honest. I think both could have done better.
Dwemi, I don't know, Dwemi just kind of taking a secondary location. There it is. Underground nuke. Take that, Dwemi.
Bye-bye, aluminum.
Expecting the nuke. Yeah, that's gonna hurt. Yerand's just like, well, this worked on the first game. Maybe I'll try it again.
We have the nuclear option in the first game, did he? Good.
Well,
good.
not even the nuclear option, but just complete control of the aluminum market. Absolutely. Just took it away from his opponent, never let it go. Worked out very, very well for him long term. I really enjoyed watching that game.
She'll have to watch the replay later on.
It was good. It was good.
The black market is online.
Dwemi there into some reactors.
To the highest bidder.
That'd be. I think Dwemi needs to get his pirates out, get pirating some aluminium.
Pirates would definitely be very useful for that aluminum for Dwemi. Just making sure he doesn't get locked out of the market that way is always going to be nice, especially just in exchange for debt. He's only got 15,000. No power
Yes.
down just yet. Not going to be painful to take these.
He doesn't have any power whatsoever, does he?
No. But
Needs
low
to
debt,
get
no
into it.
power. Not really.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to be concerned about how high he needs to go for this. Yerand really valuing it though. 18,000. Filthy pirates.
What's he gonna steal though?
I don't think he cares about stealing anything, I'll be honest. I think that was
Just-
just a I want this
just-
aluminum market.
Delisle. Yeah, I'm having the pirates. We'll do something with them later, maybe.
Absolutely. It is a nice threat for later in the game, potentially. Being able to take your opponent's silicon or water, pretty much anything. Dwemi has no primary resource adjacent to his base.
No, he doesn't, does he at all? He's slowing down his foods. It's a good move. I'm slightly worried that Yerand's debts. I suppose he's making power, so it's not too bad.
He is making that power, moved into farms. I mean, they got slowdown striked anyway, but not a whole lot of power consumption from those, so I think Yerand's going to be alright for the time being. More nukes.
Was
time
that
on the water.
he took the medium water or the low water he nuked?
I think that had to be a medium. I'm
He's
not
listening
entirely
then.
sure, but it is down to trace at this point. I wonder if it's worthwhile to get buildings that actually show trace levels at some point. I don't know if that'd be doable. You always have to scroll over and like make sure. Is that trace now? Is it low? I'm not sure.
Oh, I don't know. It's, I never had a problem seeing what was trace and what wasn't.
Well, I guess you're just better than I am. That's fine.
Wow, I'd like to think so, but I don't know if that's true or not.
Glass production for Dwemi gets frozen, which is unfortunate for him. Would have liked to be making money off that, but year-end, I mean, it's scavenger on scavenger. You're going to have a lot of black market flying this game.
Yeah. And Yerand just getting the upgrades slightly ahead of Dwemi, who's needing aluminium. Well, he's...
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Who could have guessed?
We did identify there may be an issue there, didn't we?
A little bit. Man, low geotherms on these maps, I want to point out. Like, we're just not seeing the
Got a
flood of
couple of winds.
geotherms you often do.
2 wind turbines out for Yerand. Should be quite good. Dwemi's still not making any kind of power. Oh no, he's taken that geothermal, which has been slow down striked.
This is where pirates pay off, by the way. Look at that aluminum price. Yerand's holding that up a fair amount, but only holding on to 100 stockpile.
Ooh.
Yeah, Dwemi paying through the nose to keep up in upgrades this time. Still about
Yeah.
16,000 cash behind his opponent. Extra claim. This is an interesting auction. Both players on very similar amounts of debt.
Yeah.
Hard to choose what to do here.
Yerand 16. Well,
It seems a bit cheap.
probably it does. It does. I would have liked to see Dwemi push it once. Push it up to 18. Force Yerand to take it for 20 if you really wanted it.
Absolutely. I think that's kind of the minimum it should have done was the 18-20 range. But Yerand takes it for 16. He'll be
The
just
black
fine with that,
market
I
is
imagine.
online.
always nice to have that spare claim ready to go. And he did spend it right away, I believe, on this hacker array.
Yeah, which is definitely a hacker array, yes.
It is definitely a hacker array. There are no holograms this game.
But they're in very similar markets though, so I'm not sure where he's going to make his money for it.
Yeah, that is kind of the question, isn't it? I mean, one option, honestly, is just power. It is going to be aluminum. Yeah. That also makes a whole lot of sense. Just stick to the game plan. That trace aluminum tile maybe going to come back to haunt Dwemi this game.
Yeah. It's... yeah, he's that is his Achilles heel at the moment, isn't it? That aluminium. And we see an aluminium shortage.
Yeah, 30 seconds away, which means about 3 years until the shortage actually goes off. But you know, it'll show up eventually.
Yeah, it's in no hurry though.
No reason to be really. When you've got control of the market, you're going to be all right. Interesting, both players see the chemical short coming as they're both scavengers, but Yerand is going to be the only one who purchases into it. Dwemi might, having seen this hacker array, be scared that this was Yerand's short. And so thinking that perhaps if he gets into it, he's going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, that's very true. Although Yerand obviously... No, he's not. He hasn't really cornered to the aluminium market there that much. Price is going to go high, but...
Well, I mean, he's producing 3 a second once these are back online, opposed to 0.25. I think you're okay with just a very high price at that point, realistically.
Yeah, I mean, for 7 grand nukes, it may be worth getting a nuke and taking one of those alloys out.
I think it would have potentially been worth it a long time ago. These days, it's a little bit more questionable to me.
But if aluminium being the price it is, and Yerand having the hacker array, Dwemi has got a spy on it now, so...
That's good for Dwemi. On the other hand, if you know your opponent's shorting aluminum, does it really help?
Not massively, no. But it should prevent him doing any missteps anyway.
Yes. Dwemi, with the auction for 12,000, financial instruments picked up. I don't see that having a huge impact on this game.
Don't know if he's going to make a profit on that, to be frank.
And actually, I'm a little bit concerned about it because it did knock him down to that B bond rating, 10% interest rate coming in.
Yeah, he's going to have to watch it because it's going to be so easy to slip down. There's only another 50-odd thousand before he's looking at knocking on the D door.
Yeah, absolutely. Gonna have to be careful.
But he's making good money in his glass. Food is absolutely rubbish at the moment. Reactors are doing good work for him. But unfortunately, it's all going to go into buying aluminum.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the story of the game right now. Dwemi has to pay $85,000 in aluminum. Alone. Just aluminum. To get to HQ5. I mean, aluminum. You can't mess about with that resource, guys. That doesn't work. I once declared to Soren, who did not believe me at all, that aluminum was the single most important resource in this game. I don't think I've convinced very many people of that so far. But Yerand seems to be a believer.
Yeah. I kind of see where you're coming from with that statement, but it doesn't happen every day. Offworld market down.
Yeah.
Careless.
Yerand just not going to mess around with that. Says, no chance for you. This was kind of Dwemi's avenue, I think, to trying to stay in the game, was, fine, I'm just going to build something that doesn't take much aluminum, and I'm going to try and keep up that way, but dynamite ready to go.
Would have preferred it to have a goon squad
Maybe
on it.
if it had a goon squad, things would be a little bit different right now. But painful.
Yeah, that's it. If you can't protect it, don't build it. That's my opinion.
All right, it's being repaired to the expected conclusion.
Again, if you can't protect it, don't build it. Dwemi's dead. There we go. Yerand's got it.
I mean, he can protect himself for the moment, I believe. Well,
Yeah, he's got 60k sitting around somewhere.
a lot of these resources, I think, are being locked up in an Offworld. Some of them are in this queue to launch. Some of them might be counted from never having built the Offworld in the first place.
Yeah, I don't know where he's. I don't see any cash, to be honest. He
Yeah,
might...
it's literally just this food, which only amounts to about 5,000. So I think this is just an interesting situation resulting from the Offworld market being blown up before it was finished.
Yeah.
Lots of
Yeah,
resources
it's,
sitting around that he no longer actually has access to, as he cannot cancel that building anymore.
So come on, Yerand, buy him out. It's better. Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Finally starting it.
I don't
Dwemi, if he
think
cancels this launch, might manage to hold on. But I doubt it.
No, it's 100, 6.5.
Yeah.
I don't even. Oh, too late.
Once again. Aluminum. It's a good resource.
Yeah.
You guys should give it a shot sometimes.
Yeah, but majority of games it's worthless. But of course, if you haven't got it, then you need.
I mean, yeah, aluminum, most worthless resource in the game, right? Except for when it's not.
Yeah.
That's what the resource is. It's so difficult trying to describe aluminum in this game sometimes. But man, Yerand, 2 games out of 3 this time just destroys Dwemi with almost that resource alone.
Yeah, I see why you got to take your opportunities where they come. If you can get yourself a little monopoly, especially something as important as aluminium, which you need for your upgrades, well, you're going to make it so much harder for your opponent, and that's what's happened in this game.
Absolutely. All right, well, Death Tacticus does make a good point that Dwemi did have the option of building this market under a goon squad.
Yes, he did.
Elected not to. I think just assuming that his opponent wouldn't get aggressive against it with the dynamite until it was finished. Yerand proving him wrong there, though. He says, nope.
He blew up the constructing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like the moment that thing started building, it got blown up.
Have we found out if you have to build it to repair it?
I think you just repair it at that point, from what I've seen. I've had some of mine blown up before. I'm pretty sure you just... The repair button is there, you just pay normal repair costs at that point. But of course you've already paid construction costs.
Mm-hmm. I see. So, yeah.
So it really just increases the price of the building, not the build time, from what I've seen.
Mm-hmm. Jolly good.